All right, good day to you. My name is Fred Oakman, and as always, with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS is Awesome. We're a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 330. We are a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. But before we get on with the show, I want to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, youtube.com/PS is Awesome. And if you want to make fun of our trophy list on the PlayStation Network, you can find me at anchorless_81 and Mr. Jake Peters at Jakesaw01. As always, you can write us at pssisawesome@gmail.com. Most importantly, don't forget to share the show with your friends. Make sure you leave comments, rate our podcast as you see fit. Help us help you. And for new and or long-time listeners, we do have a Patreon page. So you can support our podcast for $1 a month. The Patreon tier is called the One and Only $1 Club. So head over to www.patreon.com/PSThisIsAwesome. You can become a $1 patron of our show. You'll get a shout out on the show and a free die-cut vinyl sticker sent to you at your home base. And with that out of the way, Jake, how are you today?
Not too bad. I'm feeling kind of sore today, but other than that, it's a really nice day out. A little bit windy, but the weather should hopefully be pretty good for our show tonight.
Yeah, we're playing tonight at the Lake Resort in Edinburgh. I never know whether to call it the Edinburgh Lake Resort or the Sunset Grill because it's a cabin rental place. It's like the same fucking place, but I don't know what the most people call it. I think most people probably call it the Sunset Grill.
Well, the Lake Resort is the whole thing with the cabins and everything, and then the Sunset Grill is just the restaurant part that we play at.
So Lake Resort is probably better because it's all inclusive.
Yeah, I mean, people would hopefully assume that if you said the Sunset Grill that you were referring to the restaurant specifically, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure either one probably is fine.
Yeah, it's neither here nor there, really. I just, dude, I'm running on fumes right now. I'm so exhausted. I went to Michigan on Wednesday to go see John Moreland play, and it was fantastic. We went to Ann Arbor. My buddy Phil and I went up there. Not a long drive. You'd think it'd be longer than what it is because you're 2 states away at that point. But it's really not that far. You make trips to Detroit all the time for work, don't you?
Chicago, but yeah, it's a little bit farther.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like what, probably 4 hours or something?
Ann Arbor was like 4 hours. I can't believe how expensive the tolls are, though. It was like, I want to say $15 one way.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest with you, like if you're riding toll roads at all, even if you're just doing it like once or twice a year, you're fucking up without an Easy Pass. If you have an Easy Pass, the price is literally like half.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I guess I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I got one.
Go ahead.
I got one when Sarah was in college, and even though I only use it anymore like a couple times a year, it's so worth it because there are even like I don't know if it's still this way, but for a time there were even exits that were Easy Pass only. But there is definitely still a discount if you do Easy Pass versus even toll by plate. So yeah, I highly recommend it. It literally is free. They just require that when you open an Easy Pass account, you put like $30 on your account to be used. But you would have used you would have used most of that for that trip anyway.
Right.
And then you would have it. So I mean, obviously this is only relevant to like, I think it's Pennsylvania is Easy Pass, but it's got reciprocity with, I think, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Indiana, I think even Illinois, and probably Michigan, but I guess I don't know. But yeah, those tolls across 90/80 there are brutal.
Yeah.
If you don't have something like that.
Yeah, I can't believe how expensive it was. But it was a great room. We saw the show in Ann Arbor at a place called the Arc. And for anyone who follows John Moreland, he put a new record out, and his tour wasn't coming any closer than there. And I was like, I got to see this. He's probably my favorite. And it's been a great summer for music. So I've seen Drug Church, Alkaline Trio, John Moreland, Lucero. I'm seeing Hot Water Music on Friday. It's like, wow, this is great. I saw the Deslons. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. summer of music already. Yeah, it's been fantastic. I don't know how I was able to schedule all this in with all the shows that I'm playing on top of that. That's crazy. But yeah, anyways, I'm running on fumes. We stayed up there overnight and hung out in Ann Arbor and college town, you know. I forget, the Big House is up there. That's the stadium for Michigan, the Wolverines. But college was out, so it was my first time doing Uber. Also, we Ubered around, and it was pretty easy. Phil had the app, and he's used it. It's really weird how that whole thing works. That's a whole nother conversation we don't need to get into. But it worked out really well. It was a good time. But then I was just at Buccia Vineyard last night in Concord, Ohio, playing. And listeners, keep in mind, this is on top of working a full-time job as well. So I've been really fucking stretched. But apologize for not having the show out on time again this week. And I wrote Jake, and Jake, you brought up a good point. You're like, why don't we just wait till Summer Games Fest is over and then cover the PlayStation showcase, or not the showcase, but the State of Play or whatever the hell it was, and the Summer Games Fest in one show, and just wrap it all up and then go on to business as usual. So that's what we're doing here on episode 330. So apologies to anyone who has been waiting to hear us or wondering what's going on. That's kind of what happened. I was just absolutely slammed. Trying to enjoy myself a little bit, and you got to when the summer's here. So anyways, we don't need to get into anything else, I guess, as far as we have quite a few show notes and a lot to talk about. So short of us playing a gig tonight, I'm excited for that, and I hope the listeners have been doing well. But let's talk about games we're playing. Every episode we talk about games that we're playing, and this episode is no different. But the listeners, it's different in one way. It's different in the way that I actually am playing a game. I stopped my trek to Yomi, so I don't think I'll ever make it there. And it wasn't that it was a bad game. It's just like it didn't. I think had I been able to sit through, like if my play sessions hadn't been so disjointed, I would have played that whole thing through because I liked it. But going back and then going back again and then going back again just felt so tedious. So when I play my games, I hate stretching them out, especially games that aren't necessarily longer games over a long period of time. So I kind of let it go. And I was like, I need to hit a reset button because I don't have the drive to get back into that game. So I'm playing Deliver Us Mars, which is the sequel to Deliver Us the Moon, which I really enjoyed. And Deliver Us Mars is definitely AA jank, but it's still got some. It's essentially a third-person walking simulator with puzzles, but I still like it. Some of the voice acting is surprisingly top tier, like for a AA game. I'm really impressed with some of the voice acting, and it's amazing to me that I play some AAA games, and I'm just like, God, that voice acting's garbage, you know? And then you play a game like this where it's not, there are some shots that are like really pretty as far as visuals, and then, you know, some shots, obviously the textures aren't great, or like it's just pretty sparse, you know, whatever, maps. Mm-hmm. But the voice acting, and it is a narrative-driven game, but the voice acting, there was a scene I just finished up where somebody was crying. And I was like, God, give this person an Oscar or something. Like, it's ridiculous how good it was. And I was like, this is crazy. But yeah, Deliver Us Mars. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it unless you're looking for a little bit of a janky third-person walking simulator about outer space. And essentially a daughter and her father's relationship, and it kind of without spoiling anything, essentially, you know, he ends up going to Mars, and you and a couple of your squad mates end up getting sent to Mars years and years and years and years and years later, and she had no idea whatever happened to her dad. So while you're on a mission to Mars, you're also, as a character, trying to uncover what the hell happened to your father and his crew that they didn't either survive or that they're missing, or so it's pretty interesting in that regard. But the studio has since shut down, I believe, unfortunately, because I think they were on to something as far as giving attention to narrative-driven games. But I'm going to play this one through. I'm at the tail end of it at this point. There's a couple really frustrating moments. They do the whole you can climb with pickaxes thing. It's a little different because you can control each arm individually. You slam R2 and L2 down when you're midair and do that, and then you hold one and let go of the other, and then while the one's let go, use the L pad to move the arm like this, and then. But the problem is they tried to get a little tricky towards the end of using this mechanic where they want you to leap off and do a turnaround and go back in and catch yourself on an opposing wall. And fuck, man, I wanted to throw the controller because the game is just that jank. And I could not get it to work. So much so that I quit playing for an evening. I tried probably 15 times and couldn't get it to work. It's like I know what it wants me to do, but I couldn't get the character to turn around in midair. And I was like, I'm either doing something. And then I booted it up this morning and I played briefly and I got it to work like second try. So I don't know if the game glitched or like I don't know what was happening, but little over ambitious on that mechanic, I think. And but give it to them for implementing different things as you play the game to keep it interesting. Some of the puzzles are interesting too. They're not interesting, but they're kind of doors are open and closed through energy beams, and the door has like a panel you have to shoot an energy beam at, and you have to match the power level of the beam to the door panel. And if the beam has 3 power, but the door needs 2, you have to go find this reducer and put it in front of the beam to reduce it to match the polarity of the door panel to open the door. So you have reducers, you have things that boost it, and then you also have these things that split signals. So if you only have one energy beam cannon to work with, you got to find a splitter that'll then split the beam into 2 separate beams. So like you can imagine if you have like 2 or 3 energy cannons, 4 doors, all running at different polarities, and like trying to navigate a space base and shoot these things specifically through windows to hit the right things and put the right things in front of it. The puzzles become a little complex, but they start you off pretty easy, and they don't get so difficult that that you want to break the game or anything. But yeah, that's about really the extent of the puzzles that you get in the game, and then they have these. What are they? They're kind of like hologram things, and you have like a thing that looks like in Destiny. What's the thing called that floats around the ball? What is that thing called?
Talking about the ghost?
Yeah. You have a thing that's like a ghost that follows you around, and it's mechanical and it's tied to your character, and for some reason it can find these holographs, and it kind of does a thing like the Division does, where you can like get a glimpse into the past, and it shows you what happened in that room or whatever. But to decode it, you have to get the camera that your viewpoint. You have to raise, lower, tilt left, tilt right, and as you're doing this thing, you see these little pistons, and they're locking into place, and you got to go. You're working with a full 360 degrees in spatial. So it's kind of tough because like as you get closer to one piston will be going in, but the other one will be popping out, and you're trying to get that thing angled just right to unlock the hologram. It's kind of interesting. I think I've seen it done elsewhere before, similar ways, but that's really all the puzzle solving there is, aside from jumping and platforming, and it's just a story. Easy to play, and if you like getting trophies or some pickups and stuff too, you can pick up stuff. I'm sure there's probably a platinum associated with it. Maybe there's not. I don't know. But easy trophies regardless. Jake, what about you? What are you playing?
So I'm playing Stellar Blade still, and It's still really good. I still really like it. The story is just kind of like meh. Like I almost wish that it was just like a bot just being like go here, go there, go here, go there, because like this Adam character that's with you is so fucking boring to listen to talk. But I've been doing a lot of the side quests and stuff because I'm in like this open world portion, and I just finally kind of finished all that stuff up. So I just been moving on to the next sort of story beat, and it's like Sarah and I were joking this morning when I was playing it a little bit because you like are climbing this you have to climb this section, and it's like there's like these Uncharted style events that happen where it's like you almost fall and like all this crap, and you get to the top, and the whole time the little drone that's following you around, Adam is talking to you through it, and he's saying shit like be careful, and like don't look down, and like, oh, this is pretty dangerous, like shit, like duh, like kind of crap. And you get to the very top, and Eve is like, thanks for all your help, Adam. And I'm like, for fucking what? The whole time you're climbing up there, he's just saying like this obvious bullshit.
Wow.
It's like that's just kind of the nature of the writing in the game a little bit. Like Eve's character is fine, her voice acting is fine, and she's like pretty mysterious, but that's kind of like the nature of the character. But like Adam's character is just kind of like, what the fuck ever. He's just super bland and boring and doesn't say anything important. And then there's this like little engineer girl character who's like super anime, but she's like pretty fine. And then like a lot of the just art and style of the character design and everything in this is still, I still think it's really cool. And like I've been unlocking a lot of the outfits, and a lot of them, not all of them, are super sexy. I mean, a lot of them are super sexy, but not all of them are. I mean, there's some that are just like, one's a tracksuit, and one's like a jeans and a jacket, and one's like a, you know, like a sort of a, like a dress and stuff like that. But I just like the design of all of them. Like you could tell that they put a lot of effort into the style of it, and it's really cool. But it's funny that you mentioned about like the Deliver Us Mars thing about the platforming, and it's like this shouldn't be in here. Like the platforming is not good enough. Like, why did you try to do this?
Right.
And there are elements of Stellar Blade that are exactly the same way.
Huh.
Where I'm just like, why is there a platforming section in here? The platforming mechanics are not good enough for me to be doing this. And then I end up like, dude, it's like this shit where you're on a platform like way up in the air, and there's a rope out in space in front of you.
Yeah.
And like you have to jump to the rope. And it's like I'll jump at the rope, and like, but for whatever reason I wasn't perfectly aligned or whatever,
right.
and I go right through the rope and fall to my death.
And it doesn't
and
fucking
it's like shit
catch
like that
it.
where
Yeah.
it's like if like this part of the game is not why we're playing it. Like this isn't fun. Why are you making me do this? But it's not like, none of it is very enough to really like harm the experience all that much.
Yeah.
So I'm like 15 hours into it, and I'm still really enjoying it. After we were talking a little bit last week about, I think it was last week, about Doom. I don't remember if it was last week or the week before that.
I think it was the week before.
I
'cause we
actually
didn't do it last
downloaded-
week. Yeah.
I actually downloaded the PS5 version of Doom Eternal because I haven't played it since it came out. But I haven't played it at all. I just downloaded it because I was like, oh man, I kind of want to jump in and play that some more.
Right.
And I haven't got to it yet, but I did download it. So
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. Just that's basically it for me. Just playing Stellar Blade, and dude, that game is so like when you like really get a hang of like the parrying technique and doing all of the counters and everything, it does feel really cool to play. I do wish that there was a little bit more accuracy to the controls, and maybe that'll come with like the next game. But yeah. because I'm typically not into like these types of games, but I'm really digging it for some reason.
Well, maybe it's just fresh, something different for you to chew on. You know what I mean?
Could be, yeah.
Interesting.
Very well could be.
Yeah. All right. Well, we did have minor listener feedback, and really, it was just prescription. Now, we appreciate you writing in, but they wrote back. They wrote on Patreon, and they said that they were really, really excited to hear what we had to say about the Astro Bot game coming, and we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about the PlayStation State of Play. So, we're not going to start with the Astro Bot thing, but we're going to go through some of the things that were announced at the PlayStation State of Play, because this is what we talk about here on the show. So we will be getting to that question shortly, and I guess I'm just going to code this as State of Play for the sake of making my life easy when I upload this shit to YouTube. If people can just fucking figure it out. So the first thing we got, which answers a lot of questions, was we finally got a glimpse into what Concord is about, and we got a trailer essentially that was, it was what it was. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. The trailer was more cinematic, but then we also, during the State of Play, I guess we're calling it a State of Play. I think that's what it was. Was it a showcase? What was it? Do we even know?
It was a state of play.
Yeah. So this was like our first glimpse of actual what the game, the theme. All we had before was an image and a video of the inside of a spaceship. And I definitely was picking up on Guardians of the Galaxy vibes on the very first thing we got, but this just sends it home, this cinematic trailer. But I'll say this. So Firewalk Studios is developing this, and it just doesn't seem like it's anything different or special outside of maybe the not even the genre, like the tone of the game is kind of nice and interesting. It seems kind of fun in that regard. And I want to say that I read somewhere that they're going to be releasing story trailers throughout the seasons of this game.
Every week. Yeah.
Which is one of the parts of the game that I think is interesting that may keep people on board. Now, they did say that it's going to feature 16 characters at launch, and we can only presume that there's going to be a lot of post-launch stuff afterwards. It is coming out August 23rd, and there's going to be an open beta in July. So it looks like an Overwatch kind of game to me. I don't know. It's outer space. It's like they talked about how your group of people, like, they are free, right? Implying that other people are not. So their freedom is earned because they go out and they do these missions and bounties or whatever. They find people. I think that was the gist of it. But I don't know, Jake. What do you think of what you saw here?
I gotta be honest. I feel like they. I don't want to. It sounds wrong to say they missed an opportunity, but the original trailer and the logo and everything that they had made it seem like it was gonna be like very 70s inspired sci-fi aesthetic, and the game is not that at all, which immediately makes it less interesting to me. Like I would have been so much more interested if it was like more of a 70s aesthetic kind of sci-fi. Think of a game like Headlander or something like that. And if they would have stuck with that aesthetic rather than this just freaking Overwatch kind of sort of cross clone thing. I don't know. I mean, Overwatch slash Guardians of the Galaxy, which is kind of like you mentioned. The dialogue is very like Marvel movie-esque. I know that's kind of like a tired statement, but that's like immediately what it reminds you of. I don't like. I'm not one of these people. I don't think it looks bad. I just think that nothing about it really excites me. It just seems generic, especially looking at like the trailer could be anything. I mean, when I played, I didn't expect to like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I loved that game because the story and the characters and everything were great.
That was a good game.
But whenever I saw the gameplay of this game, I was just like, oh, that just looks kind of meh to me. Now, to be fair, this game is not for me. I'm not a multiplayer gamer. I'm not going to sit down and play like freaking a hero shooter in 5v5 matches and all this dumb. Like, it's just, I don't want to say dumb shit because a lot of people love it, but like, it's just not for me. But I'm disappointed a little bit in sort of the, I don't know. I expected something a little bit more unique, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, fair enough. Good assessment. Concord is going to sale at $40 US. So it will be,
which I think is smart, if I'm being honest. That'll maybe get more people in.
Yeah, could.
Maybe it's great. I have no idea. Maybe it's going to be amazing.
Maybe it's the next Helldivers.
Could be.
So up next, we got Dynasty Warriors Origins. And I've never played a Dynasty Warriors game. I know they've been hit and miss with some of the Dynasty Warrior games in the past. It's a series with a ton of lineage. But this seems like a little different because instead of playing multiple characters, it seems like you get one character and one lead, and that's pretty much all we really know there. I didn't see a release date or anything. It just said 2025. So, Jake, what's your take on Dynasty Warriors Origins? Anything?
I don't necessarily have much of a take, just because I have never really cared about Dynasty Warriors.
Right.
And it's not because it isn't popular. Obviously, people love Dynasty Warriors, but they've been around for a long time. But I just be honest. Like, I think that sort of hack and slash, just fighting, hundreds of enemies at a time, like, it's just boring to me. So it's just never been that type of game that I'm really into. I have played a couple of them, like, way back in the day. Like, the only Musou that I really played any deep amount of was like Dragon Quest Heroes, the first one, and it wasn't too bad, but just like everything else, I mean, I eventually just got bored with it and had to move on because it's just, maybe this one will be different, but to me it just always seems like it's just the same thing over and over and over again. And, like, it's cool when there's, like, a moment in a game where you're taking out, like, tons of enemies and all this stuff. But if the whole game is you just, like, swinging a spear and hitting, like, 30 enemies at a time, it's like, I don't know. It kind of loses its luster after about the first hour for me.
Yeah. All right. Well,
but it might be great.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Dude, it very well could be. And I'll say this about the next title they released is I didn't get into the first one. Not the first one, but the previous one that we just had. But man, it looks awesome to me. And we got gameplay of Monster Hunter Wilds. This game graphically and thematically looks really fucking awesome. Again, though, it's not, I don't think it's for me because I played the demo or the early access or the beta for Monster Hunter World and really did not enjoy it at all. But they have a really good way at selling this game. This gameplay trailer looks so rad, and the graphics are stunning, and I think Capcom is behind this. So it looks really good. It's got a 2025 release set up, but everything that I've read that people are talking about on this title is that, like, everyone's just like, yeah, when and where I'll be there. It looks dope. It's cool to see like the character use guns, and like some of the fur on some of these enemies looks so realistic, and just the battles look so intense. And I don't know, man. It looks awesome. I love the idea of it, but I think the game itself for me isn't for me. Jake?
Yeah, I get that. I'm not a Monster Hunter fan either. I'm with you. It's like one of those things where conceptually it looks cool, but then whenever I actually sat down and played a little bit of Monster Hunter World or whatever the fuck it was called, I was just like, there's just too much here. It's like there's too much. I don't know. It doesn't. I get lost in the weeds, and I really don't want to play with other people and like all this other stuff. So, but that game is wildly popular. I think Monster Hunter World is Capcom's best-selling game ever. So people love Monster Hunter, and I'm imagining that this new Monster Hunter Wilds game is going to probably be absolutely fucking enormous.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
So good for them. Because, like, I'm with you. I think the trailer and everything looks great. I think everything about the game looks great. I just know I'm not going to like the gameplay. So I'll support it, but I'm not going to probably play it.
All right. Very good. Seems like we're on the same page there. Infinity Nikki was also shown. It's an open world, per Push Square, an open world anime dress-up game. So I read a little bit about this. Not a lot, but it just seems like it's kind of, it's almost like Mega Man-ish, in which, depending on what outfit she has, she can do different things. Not my kind of game, but...
yeah, it's like a platformer. I mean, it's kind of like you imagine something in the neighborhood of, I think, like a Hat in Time, or even if you think way back to like... some of the Mario games where like when he would have a certain hat on,
right?
Like Mario Odyssey, when he had a certain hat on, he had certain powers and stuff that allowed him to get through certain platforming environments. But in this, it's just like what clothes she's wearing. So it's honestly, I think it looks interesting.
It's a pretty looking game.
I don't think that I'm the target demographic for this game. I think it's probably more of a game for younger people, and maybe even girls specifically. But I think that it's kind of it's interesting and it's different, and I can appreciate that about it.
Very good. We get a first, I guess, showcase for a game called Ballad of Antara. There's some gameplay footage here. There's some cinematic stuff here. Is this a Souls-like game? They're calling it an action RPG for PS5. It's going to be free to play, and the developer is Tipswork Studio. And they've made it clear they're trying to make like a really high fidelity experience, and that's kind of tough to do. I don't know. Is it online? They say this is an announcement trailer.
It has to be.
But like
if it's free to play, it has to
get that kind of visual quality on an online game is interesting. So I don't know. It says.
I mean, it definitely looks interesting. It has. If you look at the combat, it does seem very calculated, like, kind of like a
Souls game or something.
A Souls game, or even it doesn't have to be a Souls game. It could be more similar to like what I'm playing in Stellar Blade, where it's just you have to think about the combat. It's not just like run in there and just bash the square button. You have to actually you're more of a one-on-one with your enemy, and it's not like you just taking out mobs and stuff. But I don't know. I'm not really sure. It seems like there are different characters, and I don't know if there's like a hero element to it, or if it's like you build your own character, but there's like this character that's like carrying a smaller person on their back, and then there's like another character that is more of like I don't know, like a ninja style character and stuff. So it's it looks interesting. The style of it seems kind of like a, I don't know. It looks almost like it's somewhere between a From Software game and like a Stellar Blade in terms of like the aesthetic of it. So I don't know. I mean, but it's free to play, so you really don't lose anything trying it out. I just need to see more because there's not really a ton of gameplay in this, just like kind of snippets here and there.
And it's brought up anywhere I've seen coverage of this. Is it like a lot of the comments from the internet seem to be like, man, this game looked so fucking dope until I found out it was free to play. People are like, man, I would much rather pay for a game like this and not have to deal with the free to play crap. And it's like, wow, this seems like things are swinging in a new direction, because I believe for the longest time we were hearing, I don't want to pay $70 for a fucking game. I don't want to pay $60 for a fucking game. And now, like, you have a very pretty game that's free to play, and the internet's saying, fuck, I'm going to pass on this. It's free to play. So free to play is starting to get a stigma that, like, and Jake, you kind of alluded to this. It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's got to be online, because they're not going to give a game away for free. So they're going to have gotcha shit in there. Who knows? They're going to hear, buy this, do this, paywalls. Who fucking knows? And, you know, I don't know. It looks cool. I don't know, man. Free to play is like someone trying to. We know nothing is free, right? Nothing is free. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. There's a catch here. So I understand people's apprehension, but it does look pretty.
Yeah. I think that it's interesting. I don't know. I think there might be two different groups of people. There's the people that don't want to pay anything for games, and then there's the people that and I'm sure there's some crossover of the people that are just they don't want like it's not the fact that it's free to play that bothers them. It's the fact that it's going to have all the fucking trappings of a free to play game in terms of microtransactions and all that other shit.
Yeah.
That's the thing that these people don't want. So,
well, then they're going to have to pay for their games.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate. Now, I understand that this kind of is almost impossible to do, but it would be cool if one of these companies could just figure out a way to like have a switch that's flipped, where it's like if you can either have the free to play version that has all this shit in it, or you can buy it and all of that stuff is removed and turned off. Mm-hmm. Like that would be kind of, if someone can find a way to do that, and maybe it's not worth the development time, but that would be kind of rad to give people the option, because then you could really do an experiment. Like, what do people want more?
Right. Would they rather pay for this shit? And what is going to earn the most money, right? Yeah.
But you could honestly almost have your cake and eat it too if you do something like that. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it might just not be worth the development time and all of that, especially if a game is pay to win. You're going to have different balances between the paid version and the non-paid version. So it is definitely kind of an interesting problem. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Not every free-to-play game is bad. So, but all of them contain some sort of self-marketing.
Yeah. And we'd be remiss real quick to not mention this, but God of War Ragnarok on the PC was confirmed for September 19th, but we didn't have to have a conversation about that. That was something they came out with. Astro Bot. Here we go, prescription. And this we knew was coming. Like we had heard enough rumors to know that this was going to be a thing. And it's a brand new Astro Bot game from Japan Studios. And it looks. Is it from Japan Studios? PlayStation Studios, I guess. No,
it's from Asobi.
Asobi's what I meant.
From Asobi.
Jesus,
or Asobo. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
or whatever. I mean,
it's Asobi, isn't it?
No, Team Asobi, who was like
Japan Studios,
Sony
dude.
Japan.
Sorry, my brain. I just warped in time backwards.
It's Asobo does like Microsoft Flight Simulator, so it's Team Asobi, who is like ex Sony Japan guys that did the original Astro Bot stuff. So like they're the only guys left from Japan Studio.
And it looks really slick, dude. And I'm excited for this. And it's one of those games that, like, even on a flat screen, I think it's going to be awesome. I saw some bosses though on this trailer that I feel like I've already fought. This isn't a remake of Astro Bot Rescue Mission, I don't believe.
I don't think so.
No,
I think it's a whole new game.
But there are some bosses that have come back, which is fine because they do that in Mario with King Koopa and stuff. You know what I mean? I've definitely fought, and I think it's cute that they bring back some of the. There's a Parappa the Rappa skin. There's a Astro Bot that looks like Nathan Drake. There's a Journey Astro Bot in here, you know, and it's. I feel like the alien and the flying saucer and the gorilla. I've fought in both of them at one point. So I don't know. Apparently, it says that there's going to be 80 levels, 6 galaxies, and you're just looking for Astro's crewmates. So he apparently, your character is going to have 15 new abilities, and it just looks really interesting. And there's going to be a lot of different enemies also, 70 different enemies. And if you've ever played one of these games, you'll realize, man, it looks so good. There's like some sand levels that look like Prince of Persia. There's like a God of War thing where like he's holding like the Leviathan axe. It looks like a love letter to Sony IP, but also an extremely awesome game in and of itself. It's coming out September 6th, 2024, which is just around the corner. So I am really excited about this game. This game looks awesome. And man, I don't even know that I need to see anything else. I think I'm buying this day one. And I really, really hope that a lot of people get on board with this game because I would love to see it come to VR too. Desperately.
Yeah, I mean, this type of game I'm sure that the like VR was cool in Astro Bot Rescue Mission, but platformers like this I kind of would rather play on the flat screen. And I think that they're going to have broader appeal by doing that, but I agree this game looks really good. It looks like a 3D Mario game, which is awesome. And the fact that they're really going all in on the Sony IP and making sure that they reference all these different console types, and your little ship is a little DualSense controller, which is cool, and the fact that you have skins and enemies that are related around the different Sony IP is pretty awesome. I mean, that was one of the things, Astro's Playroom, that was one of the things that was so cool about it, is that the whole thing was, like you said, like just a love letter to Sony and PlayStation. And so that was super cool. And I think I read somewhere that this game is going to be about 4 times longer than Astro's Playroom. So Astro's Playroom was about 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
So this is probably going to be like a 15, 20 hour experience.
That's awesome.
Which is rad. I think that that's awesome. I mean, I don't know. I think this comes out this year, right?
Yeah,
so
September 4th.
I can't wait. I mean, I think that this game is going to be fun. You need a game like this every now and again just to like put you in a good mood and get you away from all the fucking just like dreary ass bullshit like we talked about a couple weeks ago. And so I'm super stoked for it.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we got Path of Exile 2 coming to PS5 later this year. This is a free-to-play action RPG for anyone who's into those kind of Diablo-esque style of games. Developers Grinding Gear Games, and we knew that the sequel was coming to PC, but we didn't know how it was going to be rolled out to console. So it's coming to PS5.
Yeah, that's to be honest, it's awesome. I think it's free to play too, so I
Correct.
think you can jump right in. And I'll be completely honest. I mean, I haven't played it in a while, but the first Path of Exile was fucking rad. It's like when Diablo 3 came out and everybody was complaining about how much of a departure it was from Diablo 2 in terms of like the gothic aesthetic and the sort of a little bit more of like a like hardcore kind of nature to it. And so a bunch of devs made Path of Exile, which was sort of like a love letter to Diablo 2 as like an alternative to Diablo 3. And it had some like kind of quirky sort of mechanics that kind of bounced off me a little bit, but overall I think it was a really cool game. And I am stoked that not only is this one going to be at PS5 at launch, but it also has couch co-op, which is really cool because not that we'll necessarily do it, but Sarah and I played through Diablo 3 together as like something to just kind of do. It was pretty fun. So we'll have to see how this plays out and how much it being free to play goes into what the gameplay is like. But if it's anything like the first one, I think the trailer looks rad, and I'm a big Diablo fan, so I'll be waiting and to maybe check it out.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if I'll dive into it, but you guys know that I'm a big fan of whatever. I'm such a big fan. I don't even know the fucking game developer. Who is it that make these games?
I have no idea what you're
Man
talking
and Medan. Who makes Man and Medan?
Oh, you're talking about Supermassive.
Yeah. So they had a game called Until Dawn that put them on the map. And Until Dawn is getting a remake. And it's actually just a remaster, I believe. And this game's great. If you haven't played it, you should play it. The game came out like 8 or 9 years ago. So if you weren't there for it then, get there now. And it's going to be coming out in the fall of 2024. It's clearly a narrative-focused adventure game. It's scary, and it's very much like The Quarry, if you heard us talk about that or heard me talk about that. All the Dark Pictures anthology games. Now, it's not being remastered by the studio, though. It's getting done by somebody else, and I can't remember who's doing it. Ballistic Moon is remastering this game. And I don't know that it looks incredibly different, but from what I understand, people have commented on the trailers saying that they're seeing new content in the trailer that definitely didn't exist in the initial game. So whether they're right or wrong, I have no idea. I only played. There's so many branching story paths and stuff in these games. Like, is it possible that maybe they just didn't see that because they didn't make the choice that led them there? Like,
Dude, I'm guessing that is the case because if there was new content, Sony would be plastering that shit all over the marketing material.
You'd think so,
and they're not. Because why? That would be a major selling point. If we've played the game before, why would we go back to it? Like you said, I mean, dude, it's been a while since I've played Until Dawn, but when I see the trailer for this quote unquote remake or remaster, to me it looks identical to the original version. So like I have no why would I play this again? I have the original version. I can just play it.
It's a really old game, first of all, I think. So a lot of people probably haven't.
It was
9 years.
I mean, it's been 9 years, but I don't know. I just, unless it was a straight up remake.
I was 34 when this game came out. I'm 43 now.
So I don't know, man. I have really no desire to buy this.
Oh, I'm not going to get it.
If they came out and they were like, oh, like you said, there was like, if they came out and they're like, there's new content and there's story arcs that you haven't seen before and stuff like that, then it's like, yeah, sure, sign me up. I'll play it. But it's like they haven't been advertising that at all unless I just haven't seen it. So I would be blown away if there was actually additional content that was not advertised.
I agree it's a weird game to remaster, but it is the most talked about supermassive game in existence, and they have a lot of games.
Yeah, because they're like a one-hit wonder. That's
No,
why.
they're all good games. They have plenty of good games. I really like that studio, man.
I mean, without having played the Dark Pictures anthology, to me it just seems like it seems like a band who made a bunch of good albums and one fucking god tier album. So it's like nothing that they've made has been as good as Until Dawn, and that's why people are down on them generally as a studio.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the other games that they've made are not good.
Mm-hmm. I think I really believe that The Quarry and some of these other games are just as fucking good as Until Dawn. I just think that because Until Dawn was the first experience that people had, that like that's if it was The Quarry that came out before Until Dawn, everyone would be fucking championing that game. It's,
Very well could be.
It doesn't matter.
You have to remember too, Until Dawn had like, now I don't know, but I've never played The Quarry, but Until Dawn had some pretty big name actors in it.
Yeah, Rami Malek was in it.
And so was like that girl from Heroes, Hayden Panettiere or whatever.
Yeah, whatever her name was.
And like some other people.
Or
so like
is.
it had a little bit more of a draw than just, although I don't know. I mean, they often have known actors in their games. So what am I going to say? I have no idea. I haven't played any of them.
I mean, I like them all. I like them all, really. Man of Medan was probably my least enjoyed game of theirs.
Yeah.
Doesn't even matter. Let's move on. Marvel Rivals has been locked in on PS5. We're going to be getting that. And it's going to have a closed beta in July. I don't know a whole lot about it. NetEase is behind this one. This is a multiplayer Marvel game, which is
the MOBA.
Which is weird.
Which is not really a big thing on console. And I've got to be honest. I mean, this did literally nothing for me. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I don't know, whatever. Like, to me, the Avengers, like, Crystal Dynamics, the Avengers looked more interesting than this game. But I also don't like MOBAs. And people love MOBAs. So maybe it's way more popular than I think it is.
The fuck is Massive Online Battle Arena? That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about the graphics that I like in this one. There's something about the gameplay graphics. It's cartoony, but it's not so Fortnite or anything. You know what I mean? Like, it still has its own look. And I like that about it. But yeah, I'm not going to play it. I mean, I don't know. It's not my thing. We got the Silent Hill. Oh, sorry, I'm skipping. Let me go back one. We'll talk about Silent Hill in a second. A martial arts game. This one does not have a release date. It's called Where Winds Meet. And, I mean, I don't know. What the fuck, man? Like, it looks cool. Graphics look awesome. And I like the grim dark. Feel like it's kind of grim dark, like Japanese setting, which I'm presuming that's where it's set. Maybe it's Chinese.
I think this is Chinese.
Yeah,
actually.
Sorry, it might be, but I like what I'm seeing visually. But dude, I don't. It looks just like another fucking Souls game.
I think that this game is like, from what I understand, it's embracing this notion in Chinese fiction where it's like a martial arts kind of thing, but the characters have like superpowers. And kind of like think about something like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where they're like running on the treetops and like all this crazy shit that like is obviously not real. And I think it kind of harnesses that a little bit. And so to me, it looks really cool, but I don't know. I got to be honest, this is going to be a theme throughout the rest of this podcast, is that there were so many fucking games that took place in either ancient Japan or ancient China between this and the Summer Games Fest, that I just like every time a new one came up, I was just like, ugh. And it's not because I have anything against that. I mean, I loved Ghost of Tsushima, but it's like it feels like Ghost of Tsushima made it good, and then Neo started it, then Ghost of Tsushima came in, made it really great. And then now it's like the freaking, it's like the battle royale trend. It's like now we're just beating the shit to death.
All these games went
Assassin's
into
Creed and
development. The second Ghost of Tsushima hit, like all these studios are like, oh, we got to do something like this, and now we're getting them.
And so, I'm not saying Ghost of Tsushima was the real catalyst. It's just the one that I remember.
Well, it's the one that landed for a lot of people.
So, I mean, obviously there was Sekiro and stuff too, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's just being overplayed. But I do think that this trailer looks good, and we'll talk about it later. But that Phantom Blade Zero game looks fucking rad as well. So, but to me, when I see them, I don't know what game is what. If you showed me footage from Phantom Blade Zero and you showed me footage from Black Myth Wukong and you showed me fucking footage from this game, Where Winds Meet,
and it's like just a dude running around with like a fucking sword.
I wouldn't be able to tell you which game it's from. I had no idea because they all look exactly the same.
Third person fucking action dude with a sword in like old,
in like feudal Asia.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I mean, to me, that's just it's a relatively minor.
The
nitpick.
art style is all very similar too, not just like the time period and like what you're doing. Like the art style is very similar in a lot of these.
Yeah, it's all very like dark and kind of like
grim.
Asian Gothic kind of thing. Yeah, it's very weird. So anyway, continue on. I do think this game looks cool though. Just to be completely 100% clear.
Silent Hill 2 remake coming out from Bloober Team and Konami. It's releasing October 8th. This game, even when we saw the first trailer, I was like, this game looks like shit. It looks like it plays like shit. It looks like it's not even a proper remake. Unless like the textures are so fucking bad. There's a shot in this trailer where he's pulling like a bottle of like healing fucking shit out of the back of a fucking car. And it zooms in on the nutrition supplement. And the textures literally look PS1? They look like shit. They look so fucking bad. You can see the polygons on his hand. It's like, are they remaking it, like literally trying to make it look like it's old? I don't know.
I mean, it is a remake. Like, I think if you saw the original Silent Hill 2, there is quite a bit of a difference. But I will tell you that, like, I would have been stoked to see this gameplay in, like, 2009 on PS3. Like, it looks like a PS3 game to me.
I just
maybe an early PS4 game.
We're just,
and I don't like why like.
Who
was like, yeah, like why not give it to a team that's better? I don't understand, but I don't know. I think that it to me it looks like one of those games that could look like shit, but might be fun to play.
It doesn't always look like shit though either. Not always. A lot of the times it does. I can't say every frame is going to look like shit.
It generally looks like a late PS3, early PS4 game. And I don't understand. Like, if you're going to make it look like shit, make it stylish. Like, make it kind of cartoony or something like that, or, lean into that sort of zone. But, like, don't try to make it like look realistic but look like dog shit. I this is Silent Hill 2. It's like one of the most iconic survival horror games of all time. And it's like, why, first of all, Konami, why are you giving it to fucking this team? A blooper team. And
blooper.
Yeah. Yeah. And second, this whole fucking game looks like a blooper. But
Blubber.
second of all, it's like, just give it to, dude, somebody good probably would have been stoked to have this. I don't know. It's frustrating. I hope it comes out and it's great. Even though it doesn't look very good, I hope it comes out and the gameplay is awesome and people really love it. And like the minor nitpick is that it doesn't look very good. That would be the ideal scenario. But Blooper Team can complain about Konami all they want, and they've been complaining about Konami this whole time, about how Konami's presenting the game and everything. But it looks like it looks. Like, it's not like you can just say, like, oh, well, the real game is going to look 10 times better. It's like, no, the game looks like it. The graphics are the graphics, whether it's in a trailer or it's in gameplay. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll spruce up the lighting and it'll like hide a lot of the defects, but
you know what they're going to do? They're going to announce that it runs on the PS2 if you want it to.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But I don't know. I think it looks fine. I don't think it looks bad. I don't think it looks good, but
I think it looks fucking bad.
It graphically looks bad.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and I'll say this, that I think the root of the issue 100% is the lighting in the game. That's it.
Yeah, it could be.
I think it's just the lighting. So maybe they can still get that right. I don't know, man, but I just think about how great Capcom has done with the Resident Evil games.
That's not Capcom.
Sorry.
Or sorry. No, sorry.
Is
You're
it?
right. You're right. I had a brain fart. It is Capcom. I thought you said Konami for a second.
No, this is Konami. But
yeah.
Think
Capcom
about,
has been killing it.
well,
with
me
Resident
talking
Evil.
about fucking Japan Studios, who knows what I could say today. But how good Capcom does the Resident Evil remakes, like, I think they've set a bar and a standard for remakes, specifically in the horror franchise area. And what we want is a Silent Hill 2 remake with that level of attention that just fucking brings it to the present day. But this looks like, it looks like someone went for a 3-point shot at the end of the game, bricks it, and someone jumps up and grabs the ball and like does a simple layup or something after the bell goes off. Like it's like fuck, you were so fucking close to making this awesome, but clearly visually you fucked up somewhere and it's too late to turn the shit back. There's no more time left on that goddamn clock. So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. I hope it does well. It's not doing it for me though. All right. Let's get into some VR2 titles that got announced. Behemoth, this wasn't announced. This was already shown at a previous state of play. This game looks fine. I haven't played VR2 in a while. I've got nothing else to say about it. It looks cool. It's like Shadow of the Colossus, but it's like you get a grappling hook and you fucking roll around, and not literally roll around in your VR headset, but you fucking go around and you try to beat these big behemoths.
I mean, there's a lot of like man-on-man combat in it. Like,
dude
it's
on
not
dude.
It's not just climbing these behemoths. Honestly, we didn't even see any gameplay of the protagonist fighting the giant monsters. It's basically the whole trailer was them fighting just like regular sized enemies. So if you're into just sort of hack and slash combat in VR, it's probably going to be fun.
Dude on dude action, dude. The other VR2 game that I am incredibly stoked for comes from the developers of Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Is Survios. Survios is developer, Survios. Rogue Incursion, which is an alien themed game, And fuck if you think VR can't get scarier, because this is going to be awful scary. And I'm in, I think I'm in on this shit. I tried the latest Alien game, maybe not the latest, but the one that was like more like XCOM, and I got dicked over in the last mission. Fuck my life. But I think I'm going to get this game and try it. This game looks scary as shit.
Yeah, I don't know if it's for me. I'm not really a big VR horror fan. I mean, I think it looks good. I just don't know if I'm interested.
You're just going to puss out, dude. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I'm saying. I just don't know if I can do that. So, but maybe. I mean, it depends. It depends how actiony it is. Like, if there is a lot of action and there's gunplay and stuff, like Resident Evil works for me because I have a means of offense. It's not just like, oh, I'm like hiding from people like fucking Outlast or something. It's like, oh, I have a gun and I can fucking kill things. Then I am a little bit more. I can tolerate the spooky walking around in the dark sections. But if this is just gonna be like Alien Isolation, where you're just like crawling through fucking ducks and hiding from an alien for 10 hours, it's not gonna be for me. But it looks cool. It looks great.
It's going to be terrifying if they pull it off. I mean, if it's anything like Isolation, which it looks like it will be, I just hope it's not 40 fucking hours, because there's no way I'm getting through it. It better be like a 10 to 15 hour game, tops. Like less than 10, I'm okay in this situation. I'll still pay top dollar to play this, but give me more than 3 hours. Give me more than 4 hours. I don't need anything more than 4 or 5 hours. 6. I don't need more than 6 hours of this in my life. But if you give me more than 6, I'm in it and I'm going. But don't do that to me. Don't make it fucking 20. Don't make it 15. I think 6 to 8 hours is the sweet spot on a game like this, because you want people to finish your game. You don't want them crying. So that was the state of play, Jake, and we are going to touch briefly on the Summer Games Fest. There were a couple news points I just want to talk about real quick. The bigger ones, and we don't got to touch on every game because the Games Fest was not specific to PlayStation. And let's get into the Summer Games Fest conversation. We are now 1 hour and about 8 minutes into the show. And I guess the first thing I want to know is that the First Descendant is coming out July 2nd, 2024. On PS5. This was I don't even, was this even mentioned at the Summer's Game Fest? Why do I have this under these notes? I don't think it was.
Yeah, there was a trailer for it in the showcase. And in it, to be clear, like, to me, the trailer was fucking rad. Like, this game looks awesome. I don't know if it's going to be fun or not, or if it's going to have any sort of, like, legs or anything. But I think it looks rad, if I'm being completely honest. But it is like I think it is like a live service type game, so we'll have to see. I mean, like a Destiny style game. I don't know. But I'm interested.
July 2nd. It's coming. So that's happening. And then Black Myth Wukong, PS5 console exclusive for an undetermined amount of time. This game is coming out soon, August 20th. This game looks good. Looks cool as shit. Yeah,
I haven't. It's like one of those games where everyone says it looks fucking amazing, but then when I look at it, like,
what do you
and
see?
maybe it is like the aesthetic. Just we're just getting inundated with this type of aesthetic, but like, other than the fact that the main character is like a fucking monkey or something, it's like everything else about it, I'm just like, I don't know. It just looks like another one of these games, you know? Looks like there was another game that came out.
Rampage.
No. No, God, what was that game called? It was like a Chinese mythology style Souls-like game that came out last year that I literally thought was the same game as Black Myth Wukong, but apparently this is a different game. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be bad. In fact, it's probably going to be great, but it's just I just don't have any interest in it, if I'm being honest. Maybe when it comes out and I see more about it, I'll be a little bit more excited, but I don't know. That's just my opinion for now.
That's fine, and you can have that. November 8th, we are going to get Slitterhead by Bokeh Game Studio. It's a terrible fucking name. What is a slitter? It sounds gross, but
I don't know why they gave it that name.
it's not even a
there
real
there
name.
has to be, maybe there's a reason in the trailer or like in the game where it explains like, oh, like the enemy's fucking head split open and like gross shit comes out or something like
Then
that.
it would be called Splitterhead.
Maybe. I guess. I don't know. It could just be they did it on purpose, maybe to get people talking about how fucking gross the name is. But I mean, it looks fine. The trailer looks fine. There's this weird mechanic that I never even expected, where it's like there's multiple people running around and you're like a little orb and you're just like going between bodies, and each body has like different attack mechanics and stuff. Like it seems like a interestingly strategic kind of gameplay. So I'm kind of curious about it. If I'm being completely honest, it looks different. And that's cool coming from a survival horror game, because you really got to stand out if you're going to compete against something like freaking Resident Evil at this point, because there's nothing out there that's coming even close to that.
Yeah, I mean, it still looks jank as shit, though, to be honest. Like, parts of it look good, parts of it look really shitty. Like, the gameplay stuff looks really bad to me. It just doesn't look finished to me. It looks kind of choppy and weird. The environments look great, but like the actual animations and stuff look kind of shitty in the gameplay, I think.
I mean, it does look like it has a little bit of jank to it for sure.
Fatal Fury City of the Wolves was announced. It's coming to PS5, PS4 in 2025. This game looks dope. I don't know if there's any Fatal Fury fans out there, but Fatal Fury's been around forever. That's cool. We also, Jake, anything about Fatal Fury?
No, I'm not a fighting game guy, so this really doesn't do anything for me.
We get another Space Marines 2 trailer. This game looks so fucking good. This game looks so fucking rad. I'm all in on this. I will say one thing about it. There was a voiceover thing that happened. This game's coming out September 9th. I think I have the wrong date on here. It's coming out September 9th, not June 20th. But it looks good, man. There was one voiceover during the trailer that seemed a little hokey. Didn't seem like it was perfect, but it is a double A game, so let's not forget that. I think it's going to be good, though. So those are the main ones that stood out to me. Jake, was there anything else you wanted to touch on that was announced at this?
I mean, you missed like a few like huge games.
Well,
like you didn't mention Lego Horizon Adventures at all.
Yeah, I don't care about it.
Which maybe not, but it's a freaking Sony first party Lego game. I mean, that's the first time it's ever happened, and it's also releasing on Switch and PC, which is completely out of left field. I don't know if we've ever seen a Sony property just like launching day and date on a Nintendo platform. That's pretty wild. They also announced Civilization 7, which will come out on PS5 the same time as PC. I don't know why anyone would play Civilization on console, but I know Civilization is huge. especially in the PC space. People love those games, so that's kind of cool that they're coming out with a new Civ game. And then I know that you're gonna probably talk about Alan Wake, but they talked about Metaphor ReFantazio game, which is that game from the P Studio guys, and who did Persona 5. But I don't know. Like, to me, this just looks like a new Persona game. You're just not calling it Persona. And so but I mean, that's exciting. I mean, I think the game's going to be great. I'm trying to see, because I don't want to step on any of your later news points here. But like I mentioned earlier, they mentioned they showed the last game they showed at the showcase was some gameplay of Phantom Blade Zero, and that game looks rad. It's another kind of Asian aesthetic, feudal Japan, feudal China kind of game, but it just looks, the sword play in it looks really, really good. Like, the animations look amazing in it. I really can't stress that enough. The shooter, the popular like shooter Valorant that's on PC, I guess, is coming to consoles. So if you're into like esports, that's a big esports game. So you can finally play that on console if that's something that you're into. It's not really going to be for me. That New World game, that MMO from Amazon, is coming to consoles. There's a new Dragon Ball game. They talked about Sonic X Shadow Generations, I'm sorry. And, I'm surprised that you didn't mention Skate, which is
that looks good.
Is coming out. It's going to be playable this year for console, which I don't know. It looks to me like it's going to be more of a multiplayer sort of like shared world kind of thing, which I don't know if I'm really into that. But I loved the first Skate game. I didn't play the other two, but the first Skate game on Xbox, I played that, and it was really cool. So I'm glad to see that they're still making that game, and hopefully we'll see more of it later this year.
Yeah, I wasn't really impressed with the old Summer Games Fest this time around. There wasn't really a whole lot that really grabbed my attention. But we will say that Alan Wake 2 is finally getting a physical release. And I thought that was interesting. Now, I might have missed some of the Alan Wake news, but
yeah, they're getting a DLC. Comes out today.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't quite understand it. I looked at the trailers, and I couldn't make heads or tails about like what it even was. Is it just more story shit or what?
It's an anthology. One of them is about Rose, the girl that works at the diner that's obsessed with Alan Wake. One of them is about the police officer that you meet like intermittently whenever you're in the dark place. Mm-hmm. You like run into him in those rooms and he's trying to figure out the mystery. Like, one of them you're playing as him. And then I think the last one you might, I don't know this for a fact, but you might be playing as the woman from Control. So, which is pretty cool. And it's called Night Springs because it's based on that TV show, that fictional TV show that's like a
Twilight Zone
Twilight Zone kind of analog. And I think it looks awesome. I think it looks really great, and it kind of makes me want to go back and play it. I mean, I'm probably not going to play through
What's the price
Alan Wake
point
2 again just because it's so long. That's a good point. I honestly don't know. How much is Night Springs? $20. Which I think is, honestly, depending on how long it is, that's a decent price for DLC. So, maybe that's something that I'll look into after I'm done playing Stellar Blade, because I think that seems fun.
That does sound cool. I was kind of confused by the trailers. I didn't really understand what I was looking at. That's fun. Moving forward a little bit, Mark Cerny was talking about the amount of time it takes to make a console versus the amount of time it takes to make a game. And he said that developers are choosing to take the amount of time they're taking to make these big blown out games. But we're living in a time period where he believes that it might actually take more time to make a new game than it does to create a new console. It's an interesting take.
Believe that. I mean, by the time we get the next Naughty Dog game, it's going to be like 2035. So that kind of makes sense. And they probably start R&Ding a new console right after they launch the previous one. But I think they actually like finalize development and get them to market in like a few 3-4 years. So it's not like it's that. I don't want to say it's that big. It's a huge deal for them to make a console. But you think about these freaking games now taking 5, 6, 7 years to make. And a lot of that is on them choosing to make the games like incredibly huge. Like, I don't understand. Like, for example, I just mentioned Naughty Dog. Like, The Last of Us Part 2 does not need to be 30 hours long. Like, that was too long. They could have chopped 10 hours off of that game, and I would have been equally as happy in terms of like what I got for my $70 or $60, I guess, at the time. And then some of these, like, think about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like, it took me literally almost 90 hours, 85 hours to beat that game. Like, that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
The second part of Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy was twice as long as the original Final Fantasy VII in completion. So, to me, it's like, could we dial this back a little bit? Maybe save some costs, save some time, get the game. Now, to be fair to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they made that game in like 3 years, so that's fucking rad. 4 years technically, but yeah. So I believe it when Cerny says that it could take longer to make a new game than a new console.
It's interesting to me, but I still don't know that I 100% buy that. But yeah, I mean, it's just a shame hearing you say that about Naughty Dog, because you're not wrong. It's gonna. There's no inkling of when we're gonna get another Naughty Dog thing. All right, I digress. Next news point is Astro's Playroom, the one that shipped with the PS5, the free game to download, had a secret patch that is giving you new trophies and new things to unlock. And this is apparently, of course, riding on the wave of the excitement for the recently announced Astro Bot game for PS5 that we saw at the State of Play. But if you guys have Astro's Playroom and you want to get in there and dick around, there's new shit to do. So if you want to tickle funny boat, excuse me, gee, I just burped in the fucking mic like a fucking straight up American. So if you guys, I'm so fucking tired, dude. I'm so exhausted right now. I apologize. Did you hear about this, Jake?
No, I didn't know that they were coming out with new trophies for Astro's Playroom. I don't know what the point is. I guess maybe just to get you to go back to that and play that game a little bit more before the new game comes out. But that game is like free, so there's really no reason to, I guess, unless you would just want to get people engaged, there's no real reason for Sony to do this other than to sort of like give people a reason to go back to play that game, because they're not going to make any money on it, I don't think.
My guess is, that they've already designed assets with the new game. You know, like some of the unlockables, like there was like the gumball machine thing that you would use in this thing. Wasn't there like something? There was like a thing. You get enough things, and then you get like the little token in game.
Oh yeah.
So I bet you the new tokens are like the PSVR 2 headset, maybe like stupid shit like that they made assets for the new Astro Bot game. That they're like, let's just make these things unlockable, winnable things in the Playroom game. That's my guess.
Right. I mean, it makes sense for sure.
If they already had them made, it's not like they probably hired a team to put the shit together. It's probably already developed shit from the new game coming out that they just like threw in there. Just artwork, I'm guessing. Octopath Traveler, the OG, the alpha, is now finally available on PS5 and PS4. This game originally released on Switch, and then Octopath Traveler 2 was released on Switch, and then eventually we got Part 2, but we never got Part 1. We have Part 1 now, if you want to play it. And I've never played the first one, so I'm tempted.
It's good. It's really good. So if anyone is interested in this game, check it out, because I really enjoyed it. And I never beat it because it just got to a point where it got a little bit too difficult for me and I just kind of wanted to move on. But I mean, these games are long, so you have to be into like old school JRPGs and really like playing them for long periods of time. But the artwork is beautiful. The story and the gameplay is the stories of the individual characters and the gameplay is really fun. I don't love that like none of the stories really connect to each other. It's like 8 individual stories, but all these characters for some reason are doing each individual person's story together. Like they have, there's no real like story that interconnects all of them.
Yeah.
But I will say that it's still fun, and it's still like the stories are still meaningful and they still kind of hit home. So if you have interest in Octopath, where it started and everything, I would check it out. I don't know how much it costs on PSN, but it's whatever it is, it's probably worth it because I doubt it's full price.
I'm interested in it, and I'll probably get it. So thanks for that. Oh, I just dropped my pen. I'm going to be a mess tonight at our show, dude. Next one is Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Dragon Age Dreadwolf has been on the tip of a lot of people's tongues, and we have heard little things here, little things there. Is it even going to happen? Does anybody even care? Nobody knows what to think about this. There's supposed to be a Netflix animation or something, and there was, and it wasn't super great. Didn't land with a lot of people. Needless to say, on the eve of a full-blown reveal that is coming within the week, they have announced that they are changing the name to Dragon Age Veilguard.
God, this name is so much worse than fucking Dreadwolf.
You think?
I don't know what fucking crack they're smoking over there to be like, you know what? I love, like, you know what sounds better than Dreadwolf is fucking the Veilguard. It's not just Veilguard, it's the Veilguard.
Oh, I thought it was Veilguard.
Dragon Age the Veilguard is the fucking name of the game. And when I read that, I'm like, oh, I just want to freaking wash my mouth out when I say it. Whereas, like, I actually hate this name more than Slitterhead.
I don't.
And like Dreadwolf was a fine name. Why would they change it?
I don't know if it was fine. It served. I guess the Veilguard probably has something to do thematically. Dreadwolf is just a cool word. I bet you were guarding the Veil in Dragon Age.
But it just sounds like a mashup of fucking buzzwords in like
all these fucking
modern
games,
video
yeah,
games.
Right.
Like make it interesting. It's like, you know, you might as well have called it like Veilfall or fucking something like that. Like I don't know. It just seems to me it's like you guys are a multi-billion-dollar company at EA, and you've got BioWare, which is one of the most famous studios of all time that has some of the best writers to ever do games. And you can't come up with a better name than the Veilguard. I would literally rather it be called Dragon Age 4. I don't know. I'm a little heated on this. I don't know why, but it makes me mad. Like when I read that, I was like, "Oh, this is so stupid." Like, how is it so hard to come up with a name that's not just fucking dumb? Come up with a name that's at least like I don't know. I digress.
Dude, there was an old Nintendo game called Vanguard, and that's a cool fucking name. Vanguard is awesome.
There was just a Call of Duty Vanguard, so you can't really do that. And like you said, there's probably a group of people in the fucking universe called the Veilguard or some shit like that. And it's like, okay, I get it, but that doesn't mean you have to name your fucking game after it. Anyway. I don't know.
At least they didn't name it like Dragon Age, the Dragon Age. Like some shit like that. Cause like
I would have rather that. Because at least it would have been like cheeky and stupid, like on purpose.
Dragon Age.
But like
Age of
I
the
don't know.
Dragons.
Like it's just the buzzwordiness of it.
Veilguard.
Where it's like every time you see one of these new games that come out that end in fall, like I mentioned earlier. It's like, how many fucking games are we gonna get that end in fall? It's like, okay, we get it. That's like,
dude, there's so many. Yeah,
industry.
And we see this in the music industry too. Like there were a lot of bands that had a certain sound. A lot of their names ended in ER, and be like Reconciler, Treasoner, be like I don't know. I could go on. Reducer, but it'd be like words that weren't even like a real word. They just add ER at the end. Like, I don't even know, man. There's just so many of them. And it's just like, I get what you're going for. I get it. You know, I don't know. But there is something buzzworthy to having a good title, but some people it lands, some people it doesn't. Jake doesn't like these made up fucking words.
I don't know. I just want it to be something interesting. It's like give me an interesting name. Like if I didn't know anything, dude, if I didn't know anything about Dragon Age, like if I didn't know what it was, but I still played a lot of games, and I were to walk into a store and I saw a game called Dragon Age: The Veilguard, I would think that it was like some AA fucking Embracer Group game. Not like the continuation of a massively popular series from BioWare and EA.
Something you'd find at the bargain bin at Big Lots or something, yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm getting at.
Point taken. All right. Here we go. Next news point. And we're almost through, listeners, and I apologize. I am losing steam fast. In a strange turn of events, the latest PS5 packaging no longer suggests that the PS5 can run or use 8K. Now, idiots aboard are wondering if they can now sue Sony for false advertising. If you bought a fucking PS5 with the intention to use 8K before 8K probably even existed, I don't fucking know. Like you're the fucking idiot. Like I don't know.
They'd probably say like, well, you could return your console, but like they're not gonna open a freaking class action. Who else? Maybe I'm wrong, but Sony, since they realized it, has since remedied the issue. So I have a hard time believing that like a class action lawsuit is gonna get off of the ground for this. I don't know. It seems. The concept of people suing Sony over this seems silly to me, especially because every single person that's making this statement, I guarantee you not one of them has an 8K television.
And I guarantee every single one of them tries to fall at like their local Walmart and say they slipped on fucking ice that came out of the cooler to try to fucking make a fucking dime because they're lazy fucking assholes.
It's like, guys, just chill out for a minute.
Just settle the fuck down. Quit trying to sue people over shit. Like, it's not like they came after your kids or anything. Jesus. I don't know. It's so annoying. Anyways.
What are you going to do?
Nothing. Not going to do anything about it. People are going to be people, man. You can't change the world, so you got to let people be themselves and not let it affect you, Jake.
It is what it is.
Sue Sony. Let's see who wins. PSVR 2 has long been rumored, Jake, to get a PC adapter. It's happening. It's happening August 7th. It's going to cost $60. And you're now going to be able to play games like Half-Life Alyx finally on your PC, but you have to have a PC. And it's going to interface with Steam VR, but you have to have a DisplayPort cable as well that's compatible with the DisplayPort 1.4, and you need to have a Steam account, and you got to have a capable PC. In addition, there's also a Steam VR app you have to have downloaded, and you also have to have a PSVR 2 app. And when it's being used, the PC HDR, headset feedback, eye tracking, adaptive triggers, and haptic feedback are not usable on the headset. So it's strictly just a fucking VR headset that doesn't use the foveated eye rendering, I'm assuming, because it doesn't have eye tracking.
It does use the foveated rendering, just not the eye tracking.
Well, how's it fucking know where your eyes are looking then if it can't track your eyes?
I have no idea, but it did say that the foveated rendering without eye tracking is in there.
That's fucking silly. So they're clearly intentionally holding these things back to make you want to use it on their console. But Sony, get with the fucking program and give us more better games.
You know what's funny is I wonder how much of this is that it is being locked out for PC, and how much of it is that these things actually need to be programmed into the games, and the games on PC are not developed for PSVR. So they don't have these features built into them. And these features are not on other VR headsets, so they're not going to be in there by default.
But I wonder how much they're walking out,
like
you said, yeah.
And they're just saving their own bacon on it. To me, the problem... originally, when I saw that it was $60, I was like, okay, that's not horrible. But then I found out that I have to buy a DisplayPort 1.4 cable, which is going to... because it doesn't come with one, which is going to cost me probably $10 to $20. And then I have to buy my PC will run VR games, but I don't have most gaming computers don't by default have Bluetooth in them. So now I have to go buy a Bluetooth adapter for because this fucking box that I have to plug into my PC does not have Bluetooth built into it. It's like, what the fuck is the box even for?
How much does Half-Life
Why can I not
cost?
just... I mean, that's irrelevant to me. It's probably like 50 or 70, 60 bucks.
Let's say it's 60, and then you pay 60 for the fucking adapter. That's 120. Another 20 for the viewport cable. $140. Bluetooth dongle, how much does that cost?
Probably like $10. It's not.
So you're like looking at $150 to play Half-Life Alyx finally.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself, are you going to fucking do it? This is my question.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things, though, where I worry that these things are going to come out, and then they're just going to, they're going to be... Remember that for VR1, for that one game, for that Farpoint game,
you there was the fucking gun
that
or whatever.
Gun controller. Mm. That gun controller came out, and it was available on the market for, maybe 6 months to a year, and then it was gone forever. And then after that, everybody wanted one because it was the best way to play shooters on VR. But no one could get one because Sony wouldn't sell it by itself. You had to have the Farpoint bundle. Mm-hmm. And so I worry that Sony's putting this out here. Nobody's going to buy it. And then it's just going to disappear and never be available ever again.
Yeah, like the PSTV also.
Right. So I might, if I've got $60 extra hanging around, I might just buy one or wait until it goes on sale at Black Friday or something.
Oh my God.
Just to have it. Yeah, dude, it's a little bit frustrating because I do really want to play, but if you think about it,
dude, if it would work on my Mac, I would do it.
What's cheaper, paying ostensibly $100 by the time it's all said and done between the cable and the Bluetooth adapter and the PC adapter.
Yeah.
Well, don't include Half-Life. So just the VR adapter and the cable and the Bluetooth adapter. So let's say it's like $80 to $100 for that. What's cheaper, that or $500 for a PC compatible VR headset? like a separate headset. So like if I really did want to play Half-Life, this is still the cheapest way for me to do it. And I just don't know if it's worth it for me at this point. I have so many other games to play. But it is I am a little bit annoyed. We'll see when it comes out. But I may still pick one up just to have it. But it is too expensive.
You have to.
And I am, of course, it's just typical Sony fashion. Like I'm just kind of fucking annoyed at just the way that they're doing this. Like, why not make it more seamless? Why is it got to be hard? I have no idea.
Just strike a deal and get us Half-Life on the PSVR 2.
Well, yeah, I mean, this basically just tells you that they're never bringing Half-Life Alyx to VR 2. It's like, why would they? Now they have this PC adapter. Go play it on PC. And it honestly might be the reason why they did this, because they couldn't get Alyx on and maybe some other VR games on PC. They couldn't get them on PC.
Which is hilarious, because if that's the truth, they found a way to take more profit from Half-Life Alyx than if they just had them come over to PSVR 2, because their cut from the sales of Half-Life Alyx definitely weren't going to be the cost of producing this dongle in $60. You know, the overhead on the dongle versus like what they're making you pay for it. Dude, I guarantee it's more lucrative for them to make the dongle than fucking pay for Half-Life Alyx on the VR on the fucking PSN.
You know what's also funny, and this is really kind of a gross thing to think about, but like, how big do you think this is going to be just strictly for fucking people to utilize their PSVR 2 for fucking VR porn?
They have that on, can you do it on Steam?
They do have, like, if you go online, there is like VR porn videos. And so I'm really curious as to if you would be able to use this just as a basic VR controller on your headset on your PC, or if you have to use it with Steam. Because that's just interesting, because there's like a whole fucking dark side of the internet that this could be used for. That and to be honest, like there's not a not so dark side, like a utilitarian side. Like there are a lot of apps now. Like for work, we have this simulation software that simulates like industrial robots and stuff. And there is a VR mode for it. Like you could put a VR headset and like be inside and like watch the robot move and like all of that stuff. And so like, can I use this with that? Because that would be kind of cool, like to be able to use it for not just gaming and stuff, but also more utilitarian things.
I think they're going to have to tell us more. Especially now that there's an option for porn.
As soon as it comes out, we'll know instantly, because the internet will get a hold of it and they'll be like, you can do this, you can do that.
Does everything, but you can't masturbate with it on. Jesus Christ.
You never know. That might be a mod.
I would like one masturbation mod for the VR 2 headset, please. That'll be $25.99.
There's fleshlight integration.
Jesus Christ. But yeah,
you need a third-party Bluetooth dongle for that, though.
Also known as a wiener.
That's right.
PS Plus Essential Games for June. I don't know that we even talked. Did we talk about these last show? Or I don't know if we did. Streets of Rage 4, AEW Fight Forever, and SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake. I think we did talk about these.
I think we did too. Streets of Rage 4 is cool.
Great game.
Dude, did you see this wasn't on the list either, but did you see that freaking new Power Rangers game?
No.
That they talked about last night?
Nope.
It looks just like fucking Streets of Rage, like that kind of a game, or like Shredder's Revenge or something, where it's like a 4-player beat 'em up.
Well, there's a G.I. Joe game like that, and it looks like shit.
Yeah. Well, this looks more in line with like your traditional beat 'em up style games. I can't remember what it's called. The Power Rangers game.
Yeah, I don't know.
Rita's Rewind is what it's called.
That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, the G.I. Joe game...
Like, even if you're...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm not even like a huge Power Rangers fan, but I think that this, like, the game looks cool.
Dude, I'll say this. That G.I. Joe game, I'm talking some shit because I don't want to get myself excited.
I mean, it's probably going to be bad, but hopefully not.
The thing that I didn't
Every
like...
G.I. Joe game is bad.
I wrote the developer of the game was on Reddit, and they're like, oh, you can ask us anything about the G.I. Joe game. This is a long time ago. And I think I was just like, why in the trailer do you have... I forget what was happening. It was just like... I think Duke, when he was calling in a missile strike, the missiles that came down had the Cobra emblem on them. And I'm like, why is the missile strike reused when Duke calls it in and it has the Cobra logo on it? I said, get it right, you know? And they never responded. And I'm just like, these fuckers are going to fucking do such a disservice to this game. To be fair, it looks like the Ninja Turtle game also, if there are any G.I. Joe fans out there. I mean, in that regard, it looks pretty good. But I got very little faith in it, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, dude, we can be done with the show. I am so fucking tired. I got hit with just a wind of exhaustion. I don't know, man. I need to get some rest. I've been going nonstop. I played last night at Buccia, and we got a show tonight. And I'm gonna try to leave here in an hour, and I gotta get all the show shit uploaded. So maybe I'll just upload most of it tomorrow. Fuck it. I mean, what's it matter?
Yeah.
All right.
Saved.
Anyways, thanks for tuning in, Jake. You got anything before we close out?
Not really. The Isle of Man TT is going on right now, which, if you don't know anything about motorcycle racing, is the fucking gnarliest race in the entire world. It's a 37-mile road circuit. It's just like the roads on the Isle of Man. It's 37 miles. They do 6 laps, and these guys are riding through city streets at 200 miles an hour, jumping these fucking motorcycles and shit. It is the craziest shit you've ever seen if you watch it. And so I've just been kind of keeping up with it a little bit. But they just to give you an idea of how gnarly it is, I think the race averages between 1 and 2 deaths every year. So just to give you an idea of how gnarly it is. But it's cool, though. Anyway, not really gaming centric.
Yeah,
but I do
right.
motorcycles. So,
all right.
anyway,
Well, dude, let's fucking get off here. I'm so sorry, listeners, that I'm tired. I'm going to say it for the 5th time. I'm exhausted. I can't even fucking talk right now. You guys can hear it in my voice. I know you can. You probably see it on the screen. My eyes are getting kind of heavy. I will sign off the show. And thanks for tuning in to episode 330 of PS. This is awesome. We'll be back next week. Unless we're not. And the plan is to. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get back on the right track here. So thanks, guys, for listening. And we'll talk to you next week. Like Minecraft, Mad Max, and Mech Warrior. P.S.
P.S.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.